Milanisti, Calcio fans. Welcome to episode 4 of the Milanista Report with your host, Nicko. So before decided to go with this episode today, actually didn't know which way to go with this, the direction I wanted to go with, being that I'm extremely unhappy, angry with management, the way things have been going lately, obviously. The fact that we haven't signed any major defensive players. We signed Morata, which, replaced Giroud, obviously, but our biggest weakness was our defense, especially the midfield, since we lost that, that really stellar, solid midfield that we had a few years ago when we won the Scudetto, right? We had Benny, Tonali, and Kessie, those three, which was one of the best midfields in the league that season, all right? 3 different profiles. They all played their roles perfectly, and it was the perfect midfield to help us win the Scudetto. And since then, even with the newest additions from last season, we've got, Tajani, Loftus-Cheeks, Musa. They're not the same. They're not on the same level at all. They don't have the same grinta. They're not aware of their spacing between, themselves and the back line. They don't have that toughness, and they're not able to have that leadership, right? Except for Benny, but Benny's been hurt. To lead, to marshal the other midfielders on a full press or a mid block or whatever kind of defensive tactic we're playing at that time. Even defensive principles like being compact, they're not compact because they don't have that leadership skills or that experience, especially on the defensive awareness, except for Benny. All right, so everybody that's joined in, thanks for tuning in. Just expect a lot of Greek cursing on the first segment of today's show based on management's, their talks lately, their promises on when it wanted to win, and, the stuff we've been seeing lately with the press conferences since they've landed in New York, especially for Forlani. All right. So that being said, first segment today, my beef with management. All right. So for all you non-Greek people out there, I'm sure you know some of this Greek cursing. I have these words for management. Είσαστε μαλάκες, βλάκες. All right. Αυτά και να φάτα. Management. You know what I'm talking about. Everybody in management, not the fate. Vlakis. All right. Lete burdes. Burdes means in Greek lies. It means stupid shit. And myself and a lot of other fans are not happy at all the way things have been going. All right. Case points. Point A. Reference A. Forlani yesterday was on a show, and he talked about, I'll even bring it up, matter of fact. Let's bring this up to kind of get a better picture of what Forlani was talking about. So here we go. I'll play this clip. So Forlani, he was on Bloomberg television, I guess yesterday. And he talked about AC Milan becoming more an American club. Well, there's a couple of problems with that, obviously, right? First of all, yeah, it's an American-owned company, but it has Italian heritage. It's been part of the Italian calcio culture history for over 100 years. Let's get into it. All right, sorry about that. Just be patient, fellas. Everybody that's tuned in. All right, here we go. Obviously, YouTube wants to act up now. Let's see if we can get this going. All right, so enough of that. That's the first interview he was on. Burdes, again, straight Burdes for Lani. Anybody's going to sit there and tell me, as a fan of this club, to sit there and tell me that you're okay with this as a Milanisti, especially a long-time fan, for somebody, a new manager to come in, especially somebody like Forlani, all right? He's in his expertise is in finance. And you're talking about it's more of an American club. Yes, American-owned, just like we just said. But it is not an American club by nature. You're disrespecting its roots, disrespecting the players that have come before you, this club, legends of the club, coaches that coach, great coaches like Saki, like Carlo, like Capello. You can't take that out unless Jerry and them plan to take it to the MLS and you know, start playing in North America, which is ridiculous. But this is, I'm not okay with this as a fan. And I know a lot of people have tuned in for a defensive show. I'm going to get into that in a minute. But I need to get this off my chest today. And I know a lot of fans are not happy, and they want to continue to believe what management's been doing and to trust the process. But what's the process? We've been told so many different things. We've been told, hey, we're going to get a new stadium. That hasn't moved in yet because there's supposedly a monastery there. It's been there for I don't know how long, but they have issues with just taking down. People are against it. And then building a stadium in San Donato. We haven't signed any impactful player at all, especially for defense. And now you're coming off saying this is an American club. It's an American-run club, yes, but it's not an American club. It's an Italian club, bar none. So this is the second interview. Let's get into what he said about this, Forlani. Because I got a real big beef with Forlani lately. Him coming out with these statements. So, matter of fact, it's not playing. But point being, let me get into some, actually a friend of mine kind of broke it down what he said, we talked about. Sorry about that. So, from my understanding, what he had talked about was that, where is it? Sorry about that. Hold on. I'm trying to go through my WhatsApp. All right. So, sorry about that, fellas. So, yeah, he talked about the Middle East, about titles, mostly about titles. Let's focus on that for a minute real quick, and then we'll get to the next segment. How are we going with these? How are we going to win titles? I think in either one of these interviews, he talked about wanting to be like Real Madrid, right? Emulating what they've been doing for the last few seasons. Let's be real. Yeah, financially, I get it. You want to get to financially, you want to compete with Real Madrid on a global scale. But Madrid is not just focused on financial stability. They're focused on winning. They've been getting the best players for how many years now? The top players. They went after Cristiano Ronaldo. They've had Figo. They had the Galacticos back in the day. Now they got Vinicius. They got Rodrigo. They got Bellingham. They have Mbappe. They got Endrick. To sit there and tell me another Malakias, all right, which is, for anybody who knows, it's the most common Greek curse out there that everybody knows mostly. If you've had a Greek friend, if you've worked in a Greek restaurant or a diner or something, you're here Malakias a lot of times. All right, this is straight Malakias. To sit there and say, we want to be like Real Madrid by winning winning championships and titles again, winning trophies. Come on. And if anybody out there, I'm going to say this in Greek. Esis exoki, που είσαστε με το Forlani και το Jerry. You need to wake up. All right? Plain and simple. Please. We're not showing any signs, any drive to win titles. Inter is stacking up their chips and their midfielders. They're keeping their Italian core. They're not willing to sell Bastoni, even though because they don't want to get rid of the best players. They want to win. All right. We got other clubs in Italy adding players like Napoli with Buongiorno and a few key pieces to deepen their squad. And they have Conte, who knows the league very well, and he's won titles in Italy. All right, he's a winner, Conte. And we've signed nobody. All right? So let's get to the next. Enough shitting on Forlani for one day, because I got a lot. And I'm glad I get this out of my chest, because I know a lot of us out there probably feeling the same way. But maybe for X, Y, for several different reasons, if you don't want to say it, which is fine, I understand. But we need to be real as Milanisti. This management have told us lies after lies. All right? I'm not to sit there and say, trust this process. What's the process? Youth movement, picking up the best players to win championships. I don't see that happening. What's the direction we're going? It's just a bunch of noise coming from Ibra and from Forlani. All right. So with that being said, let me get to the next segment, because that's a segue. More of the same transfer rumors. So let me get to my notes here. Everybody that's tuned in so far, appreciate it. All right. And I don't apologize for my cursing at all. My attitude, I'm very calm and collective most of the time. I've been very calm and collective on various podcasts. In the past, when I've been on the pregame on MWP with Vinny and those guys, Fabio, I've been very very even keel on my feelings about the club, especially management at the club, because I love the club to death. But management, and online as well, with people, wanting to engage me in saying things about this and that. But I've had enough is enough. All right. So let's get into transfer rumors. First things first. Let's get into Chow. So according to the latest news, let's get into Musa first of all. It looks like Musa is on the move. So Musa, obviously, we just picked him up, last season, I believe. And looks like there's some teams interested in him. So it looks like, according to this, I think it's a French site. Yep. Looks like Musa's is Lyon's is interested in picking him up. They're targeting Musa. Musa's got, from what I've seen from him, from, my perspective, he's got, he's been placed in the wrong positions, right? Unfortunately. Last year with Pioli put him in a lot of different spots, didn't really help him to succeed, didn't give him the right direction as a young player. Coming to a very technical league, right? And, played right back, made a mistake. Wasn't his fault because it was just you putting an unexperienced kid out there in a very tight game, asking him to play a position he probably hasn't been played since God knows how many years. And he made a mistake. And I think it cost us a penalty kick or a free kick out of the box. I can't remember. And then you ask him to play, more of a winger position, going up the pitch. Yes, he has very good one-on-one skills, but defensively, he's not there yet. He doesn't have that awareness. Is he tough? Yes. Does he have the speed, the engine, like I've talked about, what a midfielder needs, their attributes, their skill sets? Yeah. Is he a very good athlete? Yes. But he's still young. And from my opinion, if we don't sign Fofana and these other midfielders that we're tied to, and we'll get to those in a minute, I would keep him on. I think under the right mentorship, with Tijani and Benny and maybe Fonseca, maybe he'll have a different relationship with them. They're able to find the right position for him to succeed. He's not a starter by any means, but I think under the right mentorship and leadership, he could be a good midfielder off the bench, either the cover for Benny if he gets that experience, or for Tijani, depending on how he progresses throughout the season, if they decide to keep him. That's number one. Second one that's flying around recently is Chow. So I've talked about Chow in the past, right? Honestly, I like the kid. He had a very good season, the first season with us. A lot of good potential upside to the kid. Has a good high ceiling. Obviously, but he's missing a few things, right? Mostly his mental makeup. He got the yips last season, started making mistakes. We're all aware of that, of the mental mistakes that cost us several games. And that disastrous game against Monza, where he made back-to-back fouls, right, within a span of 5 seconds, which I covered in the previous episode of Milanista's report, right? In episode 2, I believe, broke down an analysis of that Monza play with Nathan, my co-host at the time. If you want to check that out, please do. It's a really good video analysis of that Monza game, those 2 back-to-back errors. So it looks like in this case, Newcastle is looking at him. Again, am I against this? Yeah, only if we don't sign any other center back. We've been tied to Pavlovic. Those talks have cooled down a bit. Things heated up in the last couple of days about Pavlovic coming, or any other center back, like a Hummels or the kid from Bologna, Busumi. He's the Colombian guy, very good center back. He paired up with Calafiori last season. If none of that happens, because we're at August, July 27th, season starts, next month, right? In a few weeks, I believe it kicks off. I don't know the exact date off the top of my head, but it's coming up. I would keep him. Is he a starter? No. I've showed it in the past. I've talked about it in the past. Gabbia should be starting over Chow every game. Gabbia is a leader. He's a lifelong Milanisti. He has good leadership skills. He's extremely, really good defensive awareness. Right? And I believe he's from the same region as Costa Curta. I mean, so maybe there's something in the water there. That they just really, breed really good defenders from that part of Italy. So again, if we don't sign any other center back, which those talks have cooled down, I say keep him. To get rid of him, and who we're gonna have? We're gonna be really thin at center back unless they have other plans. So that's our first two transfer rumors is our own players, Musa and Chow. Next one coming up, we'll talk about Emerson Royal. So Royal's currently playing in England, right? Brazilian. I call him a fake Brazilian. Let's bring this up. Matter of fact, hold on there, everyone. Everyone that's tuned in, I appreciate it. Again, please follow, like the channel here on YouTube. Subscribe as well. Appreciate your support. So let me get into something really quick here. Sorry about that. So let's get back to Emerson Royal. Plays with Tottenham Hotspur. He's a right back. We've been tied to him, for the last month or so. It was heating up, then it cooled off again. Looking to place him as a right back. I'm not a fan of him. First of all, he can't even start for his own national team. And you're talking about players like, let's see who's currently the right backs here. Couto and Danilo. Danilo's not bad. Couto is okay. But they're not your superstar right backs. They're not these outstanding right backs at all. And if Emerson Royal was even close to their level, he'd be called up at some point for the national team. But he hasn't at all. So let's look at some of his stats here. Let's look at passing. I don't care about passing. Defensive actions. Let's look where we want to go here. Hold on. Sorry about that. Match passing, match logs. Where is it when you need it? All competition. Defensive actions. Here we go. So I've used RF BREF several times in past episodes to kind of break down defensive actions and stuff like that. Compare stats between Chow and Gabbia, and then Gabbia versus Pavlovic. You know what? Matter of fact, let's do this player comparison. We don't want Frankie de Jong, Joshua Kimmich. Let's compare him to, let's say, Kalulu. Kalulu and Calabria. All right, let's get the latest stats. It doesn't have 2000. That's interesting. Okay. Well, it doesn't have those stats. Let's get the results and see what happens. So we got Emerson Royale from 2000, his stats from 2023-24, Kalulu 23-24, and Calabria 22-23. So let's get into the playing time real quick. Emerson 22 matches, 11 starts. Kalulu 9 matches, 4 starts. That can't be right. Maybe it is. Calabria 25 matches, 21 starts for the season before. So let's go right to the defensive actions real quick. So Emerson Royale, tackles 36, tackles 124. He's got tackles in the defensive third 23, middle third 10, attacking third 3. Well, Kalulu's not even close because of his minutes. So let's look at Calabria. 71 tackles, 44 tackles 1, defensive third, tackles in the defensive third 31, and tackles in the mid third 32, which is important as well. That's where you want to get the ball higher up the pitch, right? Win the ball in the mid third so you can counter your opponents a lot quicker, right? Like we spoke about in the past. Defensive actions. Where is the clean sheets? I've seen some other stats before. Playing time, but listening to his stats. All right, let's look at passing really quick because passing is really important. Let's look at pass type. So Emerson, live ball passes 915, Kalulu 242, Calabria 1076. Passes from dead ball passes include free kicks. We don't need that. That's fine. Through balls. All right, through balls is extremely important. Completed passes sent back defenders into open space. So you're finding players in open space. You're splitting defenders, right? Taking them out of the play. You got to remember, Emerson has a lot more minutes than Kalulu, right? 1 and 1. Switches. Emerson 2, Kalulu 0, Calabria 5 switches. Like we spoke about in the past episodes, switches are really important because it unbalances your opponent on the pitch. Crosses 14, Kalulu 5, Calabria 41. Kalulu's played a lot less minutes than Emerson, and he's almost there on crosses. Throw-ins taken. Don't care about that. Let's look at short passes. Emerson, he's at 94%, 94-point completion rate at short passes. That's what you expect out of 558 attempts. All right, Kalulu's at 92% on short passes. Calabria's down 83. So they're right there. Those are short passes back to your keeper, to your other defenders, to your midfielder possibly. You're not progressing the ball. You're not breaking the lines. Medium range passes. So Emerson's he's attempted 336, completed 93.6%. Kalulu 127. And remember, Kalulu's got less minutes. 96.1, so he's a lot more effective with medium passes. Calabria, and 86.3, horrible. And we've seen it on the pitch too. Just that the stats tells you, but also we've seen it on, during his games. Long passes, extremely important, breaking the lines, right? 71% Emerson, so out of 45 attempts. Kalulu 16 attempts, 62. And Calabria was piss poor in 2022-23, only 47%. So Emerson is not a huge upgrade, in my opinion. Stats alone, and then looking at some of his games. I haven't seen a ton of games from Tottenham Hotspur, but watched some highlights, talking to some EPL fans, and just overall, just looking at the tweets, he's not highly rated right back. So all this talk about us interested in him, and I think it's, 20 mil they're asking for somebody who doesn't even start for his own national team. They're not extremely strong at right back. And he's considered a mid-level EPL defender. All right. Why the hell are we trying to get him? Again, Malakias. I'm going to say that word again and again during this episode. Malakias Burdes na fate. Atafas Jerry Infernali. All right. In management. Atafas. This is a BS player, and you're telling me you want to win titles with these kind of players on the squad. When we had a chance to sign, why not sign Coyote or anybody else? At this point, why don't you look at bringing up some Primavera players, some of the kids that are in the youth teams, the Primavera and U23 teams to fill in that spot. If you don't trust Kalulu or Bartasagi, we haven't seen enough of him to really know what he's going to offer us next season. Because Calabria's not going to cut it either. So far we've gone over Royale, Chow, our boy Musa, Royale, Pavlovic as well as the next one. Spoke about him in the last episode. And we'll get into him in a second as well, about the Gabbia comparison in the next segment. Let's see what's going on in the chat real quick. No, it's pretty quiet. All right, please, anybody that's watching the stream, if you have any comments on today's topics, questions, feel free to throw it in the comment section. I'll be happily respond and throw that comment up on the chat so everybody can see it. You can highlight it. All right. So Pavlovic. There's no headway there as well either. There's been no major updates, movements. I'm not sure why. Obviously, his current team, Red Bull Salzburg, has a ton of center backs on their team, like I spoke about in the last episode. They have like 4 or 5 other center backs, so they're stacked, the center backs. And he's looking to leave. Maybe he feels like he might not get enough playing time under Pep Linders, the new coach there. Pep Linders was the former assistant with Klopp over there at Liverpool. And, like I've said before, Pablo is a good defender. Is he great? No. He makes a lot of really silly challenges, not like Chow, but he's reckless on the pitch. Due to his size, maybe he thinks he can overpower players sometimes, and sometimes that instead of using finesse. Is it good taking opponent's on? Yes. He's not bad actually for his size. But like I showed, if you want to check out episode 3 and look at the comparison between him and Gabbia, you'll see his passing range, medium, long passing range, is not up there with Gabbia. It's terrible. So if you're going to pair up Pavlovic with Tomori, like I've said it before, bad pairing. Because he's not going to offer you anything different except for aerial dominance, which Gabbia can do as well, and Gabbia is more complete. All right. And now let's get into Fofana. So we've been talked about Fofana for a while now. We were getting excited about him. Obviously, this is a position that we've been trying to fill the last 2 seasons. All right. He's currently at Monaco. I was excited about bringing him on. I honestly thought this deal was going to be all done and wrapped up after the Euros. Obviously, our club, again, Malakias, came in with a super low offer on a player that you need. There's not a lot of players like Fofana available on this market. There's Armbet, Sofian Armbet. I don't know what his deal, if he's staying at his current club, Man U, or what. I haven't heard anything about him in the news. But this is a position that you desperately need to marshal your midfielders, to be a mentor, to add depth, right? Especially if Benny's going to be sold or Benny's not going to be available for every game due to maybe he's getting injured again. All right, fitness reasons. Somebody to help lead those midfielders in the high press, make sure that the right distance, like 25 meters that we spoke about, that Saki was a big proponent about, between, 25. But you're the right distance between your back line and your front line, especially when they're pressing up the pitch, which Fonseca likes to do. He likes to press higher up the pitch than Pioli. And you got to make sure you have the appropriate distance. You're not leaving huge gaps. And Fofana can do that. And again, according to the latest news from Milan Post, Fofana deal with Monaco was stalled, requiring Milan to significantly increase their offer to revive negotiations. Last time I heard it, there's a couple EPL clubs interested. Not a surprise, because they were waiting to see what Milan would do, what management would do. They saw the BS offer that came in, fucking Malakias offer. And now Monaco's like, yeah, okay. Other clubs are interested. We're gonna ask for more. We're gonna, increase the price on our player. If you want him, make us a better offer, not this joke of an offer. So it looks like Fofana is stalled. And now, since that's been stalled, looks like we're tied to another midfielder, another French player, Koundé. So, matter of fact, let me pull this down for a second. Pull up his profile. That's Pavlovic. Okay. So Koundé is currently playing for a German club, Borussia Mönchengladbach. He's another similar profile to Fofana. So obviously, since the Fofana talks have stalled, looks like we're moving on to a different target in case that doesn't fall through. So I'm not really familiar with him as much as Fofana. But I did pull up the scouting report on him. So let's take a look at the scouting report on Gudio Kone. This is from the scouting app. It's really good. They put some really good reports out. This is from July 6, 2020. So he's a central midfielder with a purely defensive characteristics. I'm not going to read all of it, but just going to get to, highlight the important, important stuff here that's going to be relevant to what we need. Technically and athletic skills, box to box. He's a good quality and progressive ball and chain. So he progresses the ball very well. He's a muscular kid. So it's really hard to take the ball off of him, right? And it looks like he's played in the 3-4-2-1 as a central midfielder, in the 5-3-2 as in the defensive phase. In other games, he's played in the double pivot in the 4-2-3-1, which is something Fonseca, that's one of his favorite formations, the 4-2-3-1. So he has all the right profiles that we need. Characteristics as well. Most importantly, he's a defensive beast. Really strong defensively. Principles. All right. So this is somebody that's, when I heard about this, I was excited, but thinking about it again, we've missed on all these other targets. We're stalled. So again, I have zero confidence in management that we're going to do anything with this. Give me a second. All this cursing, this anger at management, disappointment, my throat's a little scratchy. But with that being said, Milanisti out there, this is a good profile. But let's be real for a minute. What are our chances of actually landing this deal? Please tell me. We were hot in the trail for Fofana for the last few weeks. We all probably thought that once the Euros finished and got wrapped up and he went back home and recuperated, we would have gotten closer to a deal. But other teams have come in. Monaco's raised the price on him. And now we're pivoting to another player, supposedly. And I could see the same thing happening. This is another good, strong defensive player. Would be perfect in a double pivot, even maybe in a 4-3-3 in the middle. Marshalling the other defenders, making sure our two fullbacks are going up the pitch. Deo and whoever's playing on the right back would be Kalulu or somebody else. That he's got the ability, the awareness to drop back immediately and form that back three with the other, the center backs out there. Would this be a good pickup? But I have zero confidence that our management is going to get this done or the Fofana deal done. Which leads me to say, let's think about this for a minute. Let's play. I'm not going to even play in fantasy land and pretend this is anything that's going to happen. Let's be real for a minute with the facts. We don't get these players, either Kone or Fofana, done. That leaves us with Benny, we talked about before. Great. My favorite, midfield, one of my favorite players on the squad. But he's got issues with his health, fitness issues. Always getting hurt. But when he's healthy, he's one of the best. He's very good on the ball, has good vision, good, strong defensive principles. All right. He's a fighter. He's got a good engine. He can run all day when he's healthy. And he's slimmed up and he's not out of shape. But then who else do we have to back him up? Adley's not the answer. All right. Loftus Cheeks is not the answer. So I don't know. Which is going to lead me to the next segment, all right, about the youth. Players that we should be looking at to actually promote. If we don't make any signings, right now it's like confidence level is at extremely low that we're going to sign any really impactful CDMs to add depth to that position. If we're all about this youth movement, if we're going to sit there for a second and believe what Ibra's been, talking about the youth movement, and Fonseca is great with the youth movement. Well, that's the case. You need to bring this kid up, Victor Eletu. He's 19, left-footed. All right. From people that I've talked about, Nathan, that's a co-host on my show before, and I got to give props to Gio from Milan Coast to Coast on MWP Network. They're all in love with this kid. They've always had really good things about him. His heat map, he kind of covers a lot of the pitch, right? He's mostly in the middle, but he covers a wide range. So he's extremely active. From what I saw at the, is a few games with the U19, really good, strong. I know he was hurt not too long ago, but hey, if we're gonna sit, if Ibra is true to his word and he wants to bring youth movement up, and we don't sign Fofana or Kone, anybody, bring this kid up. And the same thing goes with another position that we should, right? If we're looking to add depth to our midfield and save money and Moneyball, etc., is Zeroli. Highly rated player out of the youth system, U19. He had a really good U19 championship, European championship too. He played really well, even though we lost against Spain. In the games that I watched, he was really good. Another kid they should bring up. Same thing with Bartasagi. All right, no, he might not give him a chance, being that Jimenez, right, is backing up Theo this season, but give him a chance as well. He's had a really good European championship with the U19s. All right, look at this heat map. It doesn't say this all the heat maps. Just tell you a small picture of the player's abilities. Right, it doesn't give you too much context, but he's very active on that side of the pitch, and he's very good. He's strong defensively as well, being that he's come up through the Milan system, where they focus on defense, especially with defensive players. It's part of the DNA. And finally, the last kid I want to bring up is Vittoria Magni. He was playing in the U19 as well for Italy. It tells you a lot. He's 18. He's playing with the U19s. All right. There's another kid we should look at. He's a right back. So for Emerson Royale, I don't want to see him, like I said, on the club. Don't even bring him here. And that leaves Kululu, Calabria, and Bartasagi. We don't know what Bartasagi is doing. But hey, if, like I said, there's another kid that should be promoted, or at least have brought up for a couple of games. All right. And I wanted to break this right here. So Scout 7 Calcio, I think this is a really good job on sharing videos from the Primavera, the younger, the U19, U20 teams, even like Milan related stuff as well. I'm not sure he's a Milanista or not. So this is Vittorio Magni defending. So let's break this down. So look right here. This is him right here, right? So the guy, he's in good position. So let's break this down for a minute. So he's 1v1, right? So he's got all this open space here, the attacking player. So Vittorio has good. His stance is good. His feet are not crossed up. It's a good stance, good low stance. Look at his recovery right there. So he got pushed off the ball, had the speed to make it up, the strength to recover, and push the guy off the ball. Perfect. So this kid's 18. That kid, you can see that he was a much bigger player than him, stronger, by appearance wise. He was able to get in good position on this kid and his opponent on a 1v1. Right? He got beat for a second, which happens. Got pushed off, right? But that he extended his arm and pushed him off, which is, that's something that attacking players will do when defensive players. He was trying to protect the ball, made his move, got the advantage for a little bit, and Vittorio was able to make it up. That space, that time, recover, didn't panic, didn't make a silly foul, right? Had the confidence to make the right play, ended up getting that goal kick for his team. So there we go. We got 3 kids. Well, actually 4 if you count Bartazaghi. Let's cut 4. 4 extremely talented defenders. Well, players. Well, Kevin Zeroli is more an attacking, but he's got good defensive, attributes as well. There's 4 players in our system now in the U19 of Milan. They're going to probably play at the Futura team, the U23 possibly. That could come in and try to get and earn minutes on the first squad in the senior team at positions that we sorely need. All right. This is what I'm talking about. I don't know what management's going to do or Fonseca's going to do, but they need to wake the fuck up and realize there's a bunch of really talented kids at positions that we need. I'm going to say it again. Malakias, if they don't. Vlakis, if they don't give even one of these kids a chance next season, a real chance to crack the starting lineup at some point. If not, it's extremely disappointing. And again, they're going to be caught in lies, in my opinion. All right? Shit, be real. If you're really not going for trophies and winning, so it's the next couple of seasons, obviously there's nowhere damn you're going to be trying to compete with Madrid anytime soon on that level. You know what? I'd be okay if they came out and said, hey, you know what? We're going to build a young team, a couple senior pieces, veterans on the team, but we really want to focus on the youth. Just be patient. We may not win anything for a few seasons. We want to give these kids a chance and give all these kids a fair chance to be an impact on the team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And I'll be okay with that. I'll be content. It'll be exciting to watch because they're definitely going to be pushing the senior guys. I've seen these hungry young lions coming up and trying to push them for minutes. If not, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. I really don't. Because I don't see a way out of this. honestly, really. Especially defensively, because like I said, defensively we need a ton of work. If we're going to be playing this high press type of defense, pressing high up the pitch, we need players, especially midfielders, especially, and right backs and center backs. But let's start with the midfield. That's the heart. That's the heart line. That's like one of the most important pieces on the pitch is the midfield. If you don't have a midfield, you can't protect your back line. You're gone to shit, especially if you have your fullbacks pushing up the pitch all the time and making those recovery runs, picking up players, those third man runs, those cutbacks that are dangerous. You know, we can get all the offensive players we can. Morata could score 20 goals, and Fulkrug, whoever else we're going to pick up on the offensive side of the pitch. But if we can't stop other teams, we're going to have the same problems as the last 2 seasons. It might be even worse. And that's just facts. All right? I'm just being very realistic with my expectations and what I've been seeing. All right. I think I've gotten everything out today that I wanted to. Vent that out a little bit for good reason, by the way. You know, and for anybody out there thinks that I don't love the club or I'm a fake fan or whatever, don't even start. Okay? Please. The fact that I love the club the way I do, this is the reason why I feel like this. You know, the things that, you know, Furlani said about being an American club, and not the fact that we have not one Italian starting on the club this coming season. Is Malakias, Vlakias. Again, one more time, Furlani and management. Nah, fata. Burdes. You know, I was actually thinking about having some shots of mezcal today, but that would have been just add fuel to the fire, I think. I might leave that for another show. So the way I'm feeling right now, if I had a couple of shots of mezcal, things would escalate extremely quick. And I'd be throwing a lot worse curse words around right now. Because these days are not fun. Day after day, seeing the same malakias, the news out there, and we haven't signed anybody, and being patient. You know, let's see what happens next week. If there's no traction next week, honestly, I'm not. I think I'm going to take a break. And for episode 5 will be put on hold for a minute, because I just need to. You know, what else could you say? How many times can I come on this show, on this podcast, and curse them out? If you guys want me to continue cursing them out in Greek next weekend, regardless of what they do, please let me know. You know, send some comments. Send me a message on Twitter as well, on X. And tell me, hey, Nicko, we want you back next weekend, regardless of what's going on with the transfer window and if we made any signs or not. We want you to go back and go on a rant and drink shots of mezcal while cursing off management in Greek again. You know, whatever the people want. But if that's not the case, I'm going to take a break and wait till things really happen. I'll wait till right before the season starts to come back with another episode. Because at the end of the day, it's about, this badge and the colors. And this management is not the team. Doesn't represent the team, doesn't represent the history. And again, it's not an American club. It's an Italian club. Let's get that right. Let's get that straight. All right. It has its roots in Italy, almost over 100 years. And that's just fucking disrespectful to say something like that. Okay, again, one more time before I close out for today. For Lonnie and company, na fate malakis. Vlakis. All right. Thanks again for tuning in. Anybody who's heard these words for the first time, I'm sure you're going to have fun. Now you've learned some new Greek curse words so you can tell your friends and family members. All right. Or if you see somebody in the street and you have some beef with, you have a new way of telling them off and they'll have no idea. All right. It's been fun. For the most part, yeah. It's good to get things off my chest, obviously. And thanks for tuning in, everyone. Like I said, for next weekend, I don't know if I'm going to be back. We'll see. But if you want me back and rant and get really fueled up on them, on management, please let me know. And always, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and, whatever else you can do to support our channel. All right? And always Forza Milan, always. Oh, I forgot. Shit. In all my anger, I forgot one last thing. Hold up. Where is it? Let's get into one last thing real quick. I wanted to wrap up one last thing here before I go. So about the Pavlich-Gabbia stuff, debate. So I'm really disappointed. Hearing Milanisti out there praise Pavlovic again and again and thinking in their minds, I don't know what they're thinking, that he's just going to, if we do sign him, that's a big if, right? That he's automatically going to come in and be our starting center back and continually throwing shit on Gabbia, disrespecting him. Like I said it before, Gabbia is one of us. He grew up in the system. He's a lifelong Milanista. Stop disrespecting Gabbia. Enough is enough. Really. Forget about the stats. Forget that he's a more complete center back. But to sit there and you think that he's not even, Pavlovic is not Calafiori, he's not Scalvini, he's not Saliba, he's not Virgil van Dijk. He's not a great center back by any means. And to think he's going to come in and automatically start over Gabbia without a fight, you're out of your minds. Out of your minds. It doesn't work like that. Unless you're this extremely super talented, super classy center back, which Pavlovic is not by any means. Is he good? Yeah. I'll leave it at that. But stop throwing shade on Gabbia, please, out there. Some of you Milanisti. Not all of you. A lot of you love Gabbia. All right. Especially my man Gio. From coast to coast. He loves Gabbia. One of the few out there that I know really supports him. So, Gio, if you listen to this, Gabbia, for the next World Cup, he's got to be on the squad for the national team. Shouldn't be a starter. He's not there yet. But he should be on the squad for sure. All right. Other than that, that's a wrap. Again, Forza Milan. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. All right. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. All right.